Today, I'll be providing you some cybersecurity updates based on the intel we are gathering from different leaders in the community college and universities across the nation, as well as through collaboration and partner networking with the government agencies and other security experts. My goal for this webinar is to take lesson learned from all this and use that to provide you with actionable recommendation that will help protect your institution, your students, your staff working from home. So let's get started. The COVID-19 is causing many of us, particularly in the community college and universities across the nation, to operate in an uncharted territory. Even with those of us that have well-developed business continuity plan and disaster recovery plan, the fact of the matter is, and I'm sure you all can attest, that we did not plan for the level of disruption we are seeing, and it is more likely to even get worse. But the expert did advise that in order for us to effectively and efficiently navigate any crisis, it requires partnership, leadership, collaboration, and staying connected. But unfortunately, the bad guys do understand that when there is crisis, there is bound to be confusion, people are more vulnerable, and they will do whatever thing they can to exploit that vulnerability. So today, I want to talk about what is it that we are seeing out there as people are looking for different information to basically prepare themselves and get themselves the necessary thing that can help protect themselves from this deadly virus, COVID-19, as well as respond or address to any challenges that may be confronting their business. So what the bad guys have done is they understand that people are in fear. So they want to leverage the COVID-19 as a thematic layer to get people to click on bogus link, spread their malware, steal your various information, and eventually compromise your businesses. According to a recent report that was published by Palo Alto, it shows that since the outbreak of this COVID-19, there have been over 100,000 websites that have been developed related to COVID-19. And as you would expect, many of these websites have malicious intent. So what I want to do right now, based on the intel that we are gathering, is to focus on 4 key technologies that people are using as an attack vector to compromise institution and to steal critical student record and to compromise your business. Among them is email. As you can know, email has been one of the attack vector that the bad guys have been using to propagate malware and to steal critical business information. So what we have seen is that in the past few months here, there have been various malicious malware that the guys have developed to basically target people working from home, whether you're a staff, you're a student, or any other worker, including your vendor, that are connecting back to the campuses. And they are basically taking advantage of these guys to have them download this malware in order to steal critical data. According to a security firm called a Proofpoint, we have seen a lot of this malware. And in the recent, there is one right now that people are sending around called the Arowolo. This Arowolo seems to have a bogus Microsoft attachment referencing coronavirus. So people are clicking on it and is now compromising their system, particularly the new variant that is causing ransomware on all machines on the campus and people that are connecting back to the network. Another key technology that we're seeing that people are attacking right now is the video conference. In the area of this social distancing, the bad guy understands that people still need to collaborate, they still need to share information, and what they want to do is to disrupt that transaction, that kind of activity between the people working from home and their leaders across the country. So as you know, you guys may have heard about different attacks, including the recent one called the Zoom bombing. The Zoom bombing is nothing but an attack where an identified individual and Troy are hijacking conference call, and they are leveraging information to spew graphic images and to disrupt various conference meetings. So the reason why we're talking about this is not to undermine what Zoom is providing, but at least to keep you guys aware of this type of malicious activity. A recent one again that the FBI just alerted us is what is called, it's about when people now use Zoom, they tend to upload the recorded version from their desktop online. And because of the file structure, the format with which Zoom is saving its conference information, they are able to search that. And when you think you just have a secure communication with people, you can go online on YouTube and see different ways that people are sharing those type of information and data on the network. The other technology that we've seen where been recently attacked is the VPN. The fact that people are in a hurry to provision VPN so that people can work from home has rather created another avenue for the bad guys to attack the vulnerability surrounding this technology. They understand the fact that people no longer go through the same level of due care and due diligence activity for provisioning the VPN. So they are staying there and they are looking for different ways to compromise that and cause business disruption. Last but not the least is the home network. So we are asking people to connect to our network, indirectly saying that they are becoming an extension of our institution. But the fact of the matter is we don't know if these people are following the same security procedure that we would on our campus. So we've seen a lot of people accessing rogue Wi-Fi. Some even have their Wi-Fi connected without password, and the bad guy can sit on the network and capture this critical business information and turn around to use that to compromise the system. So what I want to do here is to answer the big question that we often get from people. They said, how do we up-level the security of our staff and students working remotely? So today we want to propose what we call a defense in-depth strategy that you guys can leverage to protect yourself, your institution, your critical record, as well as your employees, your staff and students that are connecting back to your environment. So the first part of it is what I call protect. Protect is basically to complicate the attacker's ability to achieve their malicious intent. So you want to put various control in place so that when the attacker tries to capture your information, you at least can protect them. The next step is to detect. When that attack do occur in your environment, what are the controls that you can put in place to quickly detect them before they begin to cause significant disruption or impact on your business? And like the general saying, it's not a question of whether there's going to be attack, but what is going to differentiate you from people that are less prepared is your ability to respond quickly. So respond will mean, what can you do? What kind of control can you put in place so that you can respond and remediate the attack before it causes any significant impact on your organization? And last but not the least is the educate. Knowing fully well that most of the malware that we spoke about in the previous slide usually taken advantage of by malware, spear phishing, and all those cyber threats. So what you want to do is to help your employee, your staff, your students, your faculty to really understand the threat and position them well so that they can be security conscious. When they are very careful about what they click, what they touch, and how they surf the internet, you can be rest assured that you'll be protecting what really matters to your organization. So in the next few slides here, I want to leverage this particular strategy to talk about some of the tips that you guys can take home today on how we can prevent our students, our faculty, and even our critical asset from the emerging threats. The number one here is to protect. I'm sure one of the critical tools that we use in the industry today is email. You want to make sure that when you have email, irrespective of the platform that you choose, there is now the opportunity for you to turn on the multi-factor authentication on there. Whether it is Office 365 or your Google email account, you now have the option to work with your network department, your security department, or even ask for the expert so that we can assist you to implement MFA. The reason why you need multi-factor authentication is even if your account is compromised by the end user sitting at home, connecting to a rogue, wireless or network, you can be rest assured that there's going to be another level of authentication to really prove that that person is who it claims to be. So the other aspect that you might want to consider is your VPN. You know, how do you configure that? Your Wi-Fi, how do you improve the endpoint, and how do you make sure that the video conference platform that you are using is following the best security practices and you cannot be Zoom bombed or at least have any kind of attack by the malicious folks. Next is detect. You know, make sure that you work with a remote end user so that you can stiffen their endpoint posture. You want to make sure that you work with your vendors to keep up on the threat and vulnerability. Recently, Chrome just released the vulnerability. You want to make sure that you go there and patch that as quickly as possible, even while your IT folk are still working remotely. Your critical access to that, you want to make sure that those access are limited to who they need to have access to, and you're not just sharing that with people without any legitimate need for that. Respond comes with your ability to invoke your incident response plan. Do you have an incident response plan? Can we help you to quickly bring this up? Or how can we help you enhance that? So your ability to respond, like I mentioned earlier on, will determine how much downtime or how much loss that you experience in this type of a crisis. Last but not the least is the educate. How is your security campaign going? You know, are you tailoring your security campaign to focus on the immediate threat that we are all facing at this time? I think it's very important for you to start looking into this, and don't be afraid to ask for help in helping you to come up with content that will align with your strategy and will protect your organization. Now, speaking about some of the campaign that you might need to consider, there are various out there that we've developed for clients, and many of them are actually online. There is a particular group called the Coalition Against Insurance Fraud. You might they speak about the top COVID-19 scam and many others like that. You might want to leverage that information so that when your employee, your staff, your faculty is getting that email asking for stimulus check or getting that map where they can find where to test for COVID, that you are already ahead of the game. One thing you really want to share with the people that connect to your environment is how to protect themselves. And protecting themselves means that they need to stop, think before they click. In other words, they need to click and surf with care. Right now, we've been seeing a lot of bogus attachment going around the campuses across the nation. So you want to make sure that you tell them to look at that attachment and pick up the phone to verify that they are really expecting this attachment before they click on it. How about the login page? How about the links that are being embedded in the email? When people have links, teach them how to over the the links, making sure you start from the right rather than the left, so that you can see where the actual domain and the source of that link is coming from. Here is how to detect. This is very important. You know, if you are able to detect, then you can prevent quickly. So when you are looking, majority of the spear phishing and malware attack that we've seen always work on 3 key emotional attributes: greed, urgency, curiosity, and fear. You know, when you get an email from someone telling you that instead of the 1,200 stimulus check that the government is promising that they can help you up it to 5,000, it's probably not true. The sense of urgency is another way. We've seen a lot of institutions, some community college and university being compromised by someone posting as the president, sending an email to the finance department and asking them to wire some money to an unknown account. How are you helping them to understand this threat? Urgency. People are telling you they're putting on you unrealistic deadline. They want to make sure that you answer them quickly, like right now. These are some of the tricks that the bad guys are using to compromise situation. So last but not the least is to make sure that you respond. And for you to respond, you need to examine closely. Examine closely and make sure that the tone of the email really represents what you see in your institution. You understand the email signature, and the sender is who you are really expecting an email from.